Oh, Alexa, take the lead. This is amazing.
What you see behind me is a green car. Unless you're colourblind, you'd already know that. It's a Dutton Phaeton. And if you're like me, you may not have even heard of one of those before. My style of car review has always been one of, don't bother doing any research, just get to it and say what you think. No excuse for it really, you could call it laziness, but with this one, I do have an excuse. And that excuse is, I didn't even know that this car was arriving until about an hour before it turned up. And I was busy painting, I couldn't even remember what the car was that was coming down. All I knew is it was going to be loud and probably a bit fast. It does have a Q plate because it is a kit car. I don't know how many of them was made, but it's a familiar shape, isn't it? We see lots of cars like this. They look really old, but you just don't know how old they are. It could be 30 years old. It could be 5 years old. It's definitely more than a couple of weeks because it's got cracks in the fiberglass everywhere. And it is fiberglass, a fiberglass bodied car. That's something you don't really see very often. These days it's all carbon fiber and aluminium. Unlike the rest of the long-nosed track day cars though, this one doesn't have a 1.84 cylinder engine by Toyota or even an old K-series. It has a Rover V8 and it sounds really very naughty indeed. If you didn't know anything about this car, you may just assume it was a Caterham just by the overall shape of it, but it's not quite. It's in fact it's almost a hint of Morgan and something else. What's it look like? It looks a bit like a frog actually, probably down to the colour and its unusual wheel arches. The trouble is, the frog's the obvious thing to say, isn't it? Because you've got googly eyes, green body. In actual fact, I'm thinking something else, but nobody is going to get what I'm talking about, except for my friend Johnny. Yeah, see, what I'm getting here is actually giraffe. Yep, I'm not making it up. This looks like a giraffe to me. But it also looks distinctively British, doesn't it, with this lovely green. I mean, green is the colour of Britain, isn't it? Although it's not in our flag, green seems to be our national colour. Isn't it strange that? I don't know why that is. But maybe we just like green. Maybe it's because we live in a country where 6 months of the year we don't see blue, but we do see green. And then we have pot riveted aluminium sides as well that makes it look ever so slightly like a cross between a sports car and an aeroplane. An old aeroplane, of course, not a new one. That'd be silly, wouldn't it? Old aeroplanes are like this. Aluminium, pot riveted, green bits, purposeful, noisy, scary. Because it's a kit car, it will actually be full of bits of other old cars. I believe it's got a Cortina rear axle. And look, it's actually got drum brakes. Drum brakes, eh? Not on the front though, but having said that, they're not stupid brakes, are they? They're just ordinary, small, not even ventilated discs. That surprises me. That tells me that this is the kind of sports car for the man who doesn't rely on technology. He relies on a strong right foot and his moustache to guide him the right way. I wonder whether the owner of this car has a moustache. So these rear lamps, I'm not sure where they've come from, but they do look familiar. Twin fuel fillers. Oh gosh, didn't mean to do that. A tiny little boot with integrated spoiler, roll cage of course, and then as we can see there, not a great deal of room to get in and out of. So that's going to be my first challenge. Not very often do you find the manufacturer or the maker of the car or the coach builder or whatever with a phone number on the side. I wonder if that phone number's still available to use. Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. But I've just ordered a pizza. Made in England, yes. If If you want to drive a car, you have to be able to get into it. And I'm wondering whether maybe I'm a bit too lanky for this particular job. So let's find out. Shouldn't be any more difficult than the midget, except of course it does look a little bit narrower, and of course you've got to step over. Oh, hang on. Oh, oh gosh, that is uncomfortable. Actually, no, it's not too bad now. No, not really. I'm stuck. Oh, yeah, actually, I think I've got a problem, and that is that I can get in, but the knees are just a bit too much in the way of the steering wheel. This is definitely the kind of car you could do yourself an injury just climbing into, never mind driving it. That is a very unusual steering wheel position. It's just kind of vertical rather than leaning across like that to help. But the main problem is going to be, I think, and get the clutch there, but as you can see, it's oh gosh, how am I going to, right, press the pedal. Okay, I can actually press the pedal, but then that's in the way of that there. Well, the man who owns this car is not a small man, but he's not as tall as me. So I suspect he might find it a bit easier. But it's having that. It was the first time ever I've experienced what it must be like to have childbearing hips, because I almost feel like I'm stuck in it. So narrow that actually I need to take my wallet out and my other phone just so I've got enough room to fart. If this had a roof on it, it would be impossible. I mean, actually impossible to get in and out of for me, and for probably many people. This is amazing. Gosh. Oh. Look at it again. Power. That's scary. And he just lightly touched the throttle and I would like to say, for a car that was built in 1982, this is astonishing, but I'm not going to, because actually that was quite possibly the most exciting and exhilarating drive I've ever had. I had goosebumps all up my arms and my legs as well. I was incredibly excited and just a little bit scared at the same time. It was wonderful, and I was also, as much as I enjoyed it, I was kind of glad to have just given the key back as well, because I've driven it and I don't need to drive it much longer. Start again. That really was the most intoxicating and exhilarating test drive I have ever had. The sound of that Rover V8 on full song, the feel of it shimmying along because it doesn't really want to go entirely in a straight line. The way your body feels on edge, your whole body tingles and you get goosebumps. They're coming back just thinking about it. That was scary, it was wonderful, and it made me feel alive. The dimensions of that car would suit a skinny young man, someone about 5'8" and about 9 stone. But the reality of it wouldn't be a good idea. Drive that thing with something to prove, you're going to kill yourself, and that simply wouldn't be the most impressive thing you could do. But that's it. I suppose the way to feel the most alive is to be right on the edge of not being alive any longer, provided it's not some sort of illness. This is the reason why superbikes are popular, why hang gliding is popular, parachuting, mountaineering, any of those kind of things, where you're putting your own judgment to the test to find out which is the most powerful, the vehicle, your own skill, or your own stupidity. If stupidity wins, you're not going to.